Hey Pens fans, welcome to Pens Den, home of your five-time Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins. The Penguins finished their first 3 games of the season. Each one was a little different from the other one. Let's take a look at them and see how things went. Okay, the first 3 games are in the books for the Penguins for this year. Their home opener was last Wednesday night at 8 o'clock against the St. Louis Blues. We had the banner raising ceremony. They received the rings the day before. Just a lot of pomp and circumstance. It was just a wonderful evening. And unfortunately, they started out pretty flat. It wasn't until about the 3rd period when St. Louis got into penalty trouble. Pens had a 2-man advantage, and I believe your captain, number 87, Sidney Crosby, scored, and then in rapid fire, Connor Sheary tied the game up. So they had a real nice come from behind right there. But in overtime, Peter Angelo scored his 2nd goal to beat Matt Murray, and St. Louis took the win at 5-4. It was one of those games that the Penguins took a while to get warmed up to, and once they got warmed up, they looked like they were really into it. But unfortunately, in overtime, some of the lines kind of looked sluggish. They had Kessel paired up with Malkin, and that just wasn't a fast line right there, and that's when the goal was scored. But we'll fast forward to the next night. It was the first of 19 back-to-backs this year, the most in the NHL, and the Penguins ended up playing the Chicago Blackhawks. Well, my only thing that I can say about that is you're going to take a look at a couple of pictures from the game. This one and then this one. It was a dumpster fire. There's just no way to put it any other way. I felt sorry for Steve Mears. It was his first real Penguins game that he was doing broadcast, taking over for Paul Steigerwald, and he had to call this game. And how do you call a dumpster fire game? It's next to impossible. Phil Kessel scored the lone goal. Niemi, he started out, and if you've seen some of the clips, he tripped when he was coming out onto the ice that night, and that pretty much set it for the Penguins. My whole thing about this is, and this is just my speculation, is I think it was the banner raising ring ceremony hangover. I think they kind of were just caught in that loop. It just seemed, for some reason, they just couldn't get started for any reason. And it just ended up, it was beyond ugly. I mean, it was just wow. There's just no other words for it. And then the Penguins played the Nashville Predators on Saturday at PPG Paints Arena. That was definitely, of the 3 games, that was their best game. That was their most complete game, as they ended up winning that game. It was a 4-0 shutout. Matt Murray with his shutout, and he extends his shutout streak against the Nashville Predators. But one of the more interesting things is a new Penguin star was born. Ryan Reaves, can't say enough about him. It was General Manager Jim Rutherford got a perfect fit for this team. How many times have people said that, and how many times have I said that? Jim knows what he's doing. He is one of the best general managers in the business, and he still hasn't pulled a trade for a 3rd-line center yet. That remains to be seen. There still may be something in the works, but he doesn't do things until he can get some value for the team. And you can see Ryan Reaves, that's just incredible instant value for the team. The penalties in that game, the penalties that were called were atrocious. The abuse that Sidney Crosby took that game was insane. The head hitting, and then on the one face-off, how somebody hit the chin up into his stick up into his chin, and it was just ugly. It was just ugly, ugly, ugly. And what else can you say about Ryan Reaves? He jumped in. He went after some of these guys. He just took care of business. I mean, it's a good night for the Pens and a good night for Ryan Reaves when not only has he scored his first goal as a Penguin, but you see him in the penalty box with ice on his hands, because that meant he's been in some fisticuffs. But it's really kind of going to put the league on notice here that the Penguins aren't going to be a pushover this year, but no stretch of the imagination. One thing that I can say that they really did miss was a net front presence. especially that first game against the Blues. Hornquist is still day-to-day. We're hopeful of getting him back soon. On the injury update, Ian Cole took one for the team, literally. Lost several teeth, some jawbone, and there's a picture, and I'm going to post it here. Don't look if you're squeamish, that shows his missing teeth and part of his jawbone. So it's not, I mean, it's serious, but it's not one where he's going to be incapacitated for a long time. Hopefully he'll get back in the lineup soon. So all in all, they're one, really, if you want to look at it, 1-1-1 with the getting the point out of the game in St. Louis. Their next opponent this week is they're facing the Washington Capitals, and we all know what Alexander Ovechkin did. He has 7 goals in 2 games, which is crazy. That's just absolutely crazy. And then another back-to-back. Next night they play the Tampa Bay Lightning here in Tampa. That game, we're not going to that one. We're going to be going to the one a week later on Saturday here in Tampa. So look for some live updates if you're on Facebook. I'll be sure to post some of them. My wife and I are very much looking forward to going to that game. So that's kind of it in a nutshell to wrap up the first week of the season. Each game was different. The Penguins had a good comeback ability in the first game. The second game, dumpster fire. I mean, I can't call it anything else but that. And the third game was very complete. One other thing about that third game that I really noted was their aggressive forechecking. When the Penguins are playing well, they're aggressive after the puck. Whether it's in their own zone, whether in the offensive zone, neutral ice, they're aggressive. They're going after it, and they're hitting bodies. And they're not hitting bodies with reckless abandon. They're hitting bodies with a purpose to try to dislodge the puck. So all in all, got to be very pleased. Hopefully, like I said, Ian Cole will get back soon. Hopefully, we can get Patrick Hornquist back soon. But Matt Murray with a very solid performance against the Predators. A lot of people were like, he gave up 6 goals against the Blackhawks, but folks, it was a dumpster fire. I mean, there was no defense that night. It was a dumpster fire. That's all I'm going to say. If you like today's content, please hit the like button, subscribe, and tell others about Pens Den. We'd love to have them on board. Please check out my blog, where I also post some mini reviews and updates on the Penguins as well. Thanks a lot, and let's go Pens!